welcome to episode 82 of the Craft House Magic podcast. My name's Ellie and I'm coming to you from Norwich in Norfolk in the UK, and today is the 5th of September. So welcome everybody. Hope you all had a lovely crafty week since the last time I've spoken to you, and I'm here to share all the things I've been making in the last 7 days. So today we have some knitting, some crochet, some dressmaking, some a blast from the past, a gadget, and also some information on my shop update, which will be this Friday at 7 p.m. And then at the very end of the podcast, I'm going to announce prizes. So on the last week's episode, I announced that I was going to do a special giveaway for my 3-year podiversary, and also to celebrate that I'd got 8,000 subscribers. So I've drawn a winner for that, and I will be announcing that at the end of the podcast. And also I have 8 winners for the summer sock along, and I'll draw those at the end of the podcast as well. I've got 4 prizes from the finished objects thread and 4 prizes from the discussion thread, so watch out for that. You can find me on Instagram, Ravelry and Facebook as Craft House Magic, and I have my own website crafthousemagiccouk, where you can find things that I've handmade, such as hand-dyed yarn, project bags and stitch markers, etc. And you can also find the show notes for the podcast. Let's start with the knitting section. So first of all, I have a half finished object. So if you watched last week's episode, you'll know that I'd already got a pair of socks that was in this lovely stripy yarn. So I'd knitted a big long sock tube, and then I've cut it up into 4 pieces, and then I'd finished 1 pair on the last episode, and this is sort of sock number 3 from the sock tube, and I've added contrast cuffs, heels and toes in a grey tonal yarn, dark grey tonal yarn, which is my Living on a Prayer colourway, and I used my merino nylon base, which you can get in my shop. This lovely yarn is from Ducky Darlings, and it's in the Wizardry colourway, and this is also a 75% nylon, 25% 75% merino, 25% nylon. They're both pretty much the same base, so they pair together nicely. And I have started my 2nd sock of that, well, 4th sock of the tube. And I've picked up stitches on the top edge, and I'm taking a risk and leaving live stitches just hanging at the moment. This is on a pretty tight gauge, so I think that they'll be all right. I should really go and pick them up, really, just with some needles that I'm not using at the moment. So I am using the Chow Goo, and they're the ones with a very fine cable. And these needles are 2.5mm needles, but I actually knit most of the sock in 2.25mm needles, because me and Mum were knitting them at the same time, and Mum is a little bit looser than me, and she basically did most of the knitting of the tube. So I've switched to 2.5 for the heel, as I'm just knitting it myself. Normally I'd stick with the same needle size throughout the whole sock, but because my mum's a bit looser, I've got 2.5mm needles to do the cuff, heels and toes. But there we go, another pair of socks nearly finished. I've got way too many socks on the needles at the moment. I've got 2 pairs of socks I'd like to cast on, but I think I must have 4 pairs on the needle, so I'm going to finish some of those first before I cast them off. So whip number 2 is obviously a sock. I've been working on my Pebbles and Pathways sock, and this lovely gorgeous pattern, it's got beautiful cables and a lovely squishy garter stitch bit in the middle there. This is by the lovely Mars from the Hey Brown Berry podcast, and she's Marceline Smith on Ravelry, and this is the Pebbles and Pathways pattern, and it is a toe-up sock. I started here, and I have actually got a heel there. It looks rather long, but I have got a heel at the back because the pattern goes right up the front of the foot, which is gorgeous, and I really like actually how this heel works, so I might be using that in the future. So I definitely recommend that. I'm using 2.75mm needles on these socks. Because I'm using my BFL base, it is slightly thicker, so I can get away with using slightly bigger needles and having a nice tension there. And also I can use less stitches. So for Adam, he's got quite slim legs, so I can get away with 56 stitches on 2.75mm needles for him. But because there are cables on it, I've used 60 stitches. I think Mars suggests using 64, but because Adam's got quite slim legs, I've used 60 stitches and then taken into account the cables as well. But there we go. I really like doing toe up actually. I might have to do some more toe up socks in the future. So this colourway I am using is The Way You Make Me Feel, whoops, on my BFL base, which is 80% BFL, Blueface Leicester, 20% nylon. And these are going to be for Adam. Another pair of socks. I think this will be pair number 31 for him. So I've been quite good to him with my knitting for him. He doesn't get anything else bar socks, but he does wear socks a lot. So if I know that he's going to wear the socks loads, I'll just keep knitting him more. So I have a garment on the needles. I think on the last episode I'd done about 4 rows of this, but now I've got quite a lot finished. Well, not finished, but quite a lot done. This is going to be an antler cardigan by Tin Can Knits, and I'm knitting this in an Aran weight yarn, which is dyed by myself, and basically the colourway is Living on a Prayer, but I've dyed it on an Aran weight yarn, which is 85% merino and 15% Donegal net to give it a little bit of texture. Really like how that texture's working. So this is going to be really lovely and squishy. I've done about 11 inches and I think I need to do another 8, I think, till I get to sort of the armpits. And I'm going to try and do some shaping just around the bust to give me a little bit more room so it's longer at the front, but I'll also decrease at the same time so it fits nicely into my upper bust. But I will give you some more information on how I'm doing that when I've actually started doing that section, to make sure I'm not just telling you to do something that perhaps doesn't work. I'm going to try it first and then tell you. But there we go. I do have some of this which I haven't listed in the shop, this yarn base, but I haven't listed it in the shop yet because I wanted to knit something with it first to make sure that I liked it. But I'm actually getting on quite quickly with that, which I'm pleased about. So that's my garment. And I also have one more knitting project, my Cozy Memories blanket. So I have 2 squares that I've knitted since the last episode. I have this lovely orangey yarn with some little speckles of green in there, and that is it's a Beehive Yarns in the Barbarella, or I don't know if it's the Barbarella or Wassail colourway. One's the base of the yarn and one is the colourway itself. And I had that as a little gift from my friend Julie, so thank you, Julie. And I've knitted one more square in a purpley pink colourway with some slightly darker speckles in there. That's actually coming up not as bright as it is in real life, but that one I'm afraid I don't know what I've done with the label, but it's nice purple against the orange anyway. I'm going to try and show you a bit more of the blanket. I have no idea what you can see because I'm behind the blanket. But I've done about 2/3 of the size that I want to do. If you look carefully, you can see this section, the sort of centre double decrease is going in this direction, and then on this side of the blanket they're going in that direction, so it's forming a chevron shape. And I'm going to do another section which is then going to go in the other direction, and I think that will come out really nicely. So I'm planning on doing it another 1/3 bigger, well, half as much again, so that me and Adam can have it sort of over both our laps on the sofa. I'm putting it on my lap here to show you, but you can't actually see it. Oh dear. I did actually lay out my blanket onto the floor and took a picture and put it on my Instagram page if you want to see that. So that is all my knitting, but I do have something that I want to cast on. So I thought I'd show you what my ideas were. So I hear that Stephen West is doing another mystery knit along, and I do love a mystery knit along. So I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to have a go because it's so much fun having a big surprise of what I'm going to knit. And I do love a lot of Stephen West's patterns, absolutely beautiful designs that he has. So I think I'm going to have a go. So I've been planning what yarns I'm going to use. So for the pattern, it's called the Starflake Mystery Knit Along. and it requires 4 skeins of 4-ply yarn, 2 of one colour and 2 of another. So I've been looking at my yarns to see what I'm going to knit it with. And I'm basically just looking at my shop's stock rather than my stash, because I'd got in my mind I wanted to use tonal colours, because he says in his instructions that rather than using something that's very busy, it's good to have sort of tonal or less speckled yarns so that you can see the pattern better. So I'm going to choose some tonal yarns that are in my shop, and my first thoughts are these two. So this one is Nobody Does It Better in like a coral colour, and this one's Ordinary World and it's a blue grey, and I think those go together really nice. And I'm thinking that that would go with a lot of my clothes. So that's what I'm going to try and think of now when I'm making things. Are they going to go with other things that I'm going to be wearing with them? Of course, if they're socks can be any colour. But I am trying to think of shawls, what are they going to go with? So actually, first choice is this one, I think. But I have some other ideas. So I also quite liked these two together. So this one is Love is a Battlefield, and this one's Nobody Does It Better, like I showed you just now. So that would be a brighter version. I'm not sure whether that would be quite as wearable as the sort of blue-grey. Don't know. Or there's this one, and this one's Shiny Happy People with It's Raining Men, and that would go really nicely with lots of clothes as well. That's quite a sort of a neutral, I'd say. And a shawl you could wear with everything. So I don't know, it's difficult to choose. I think what I'm going to do is have a think over the next few weeks, because the knit along doesn't start until the 4th of October. So I will have a think about it over the next few weeks and then decide. But I'd love to hear what you think. I will be posting some pictures on Instagram as well of some other choices, and I'd love to see what other people are looking at. So I'm going to have a look on Instagram to see what you guys are doing, and let me know whether you think any of these sort of colour combinations are better. Of course, there's all other ones as well. I could go for yellow and the sort of turquoise together. Don't know, that's really nice as well. Oh, it's so difficult. Let's just I'll just have to make multiples so that I can just make loads of shawls. Anyway, so I can't wait for that to come out. That's going to be super exciting. Next section is crochet, and I've actually got a finished object. I have a finished object. Ta-da! So this is my Battenberg blanket turned into a cushion cover. So Sandra from Cherry Heart has designed this beautiful pattern where you make these tiny little gorgeous crochet squares and join them together, and she's got a fab tutorial on how you crochet a square and then you actually join 4 all the way around the square, so it just sort of you're joining them as you go, sort of thing. So I decided I've got this little cushion to cover in my living room, and I thought that would be a brilliant idea to have these little squares to cover it with. So what I did is I ended up making like a triangle shape of these squares, and then I laid the corner of the triangle over the cushion, and then I got these triangle bits sticking out either side. So then I folded them over, and then if I put the corner triangle over there, had them folded them over like this, I'd end up with the seam through the centre, and that's what I've got there. So you can see where it's all joined in, and there, here, all the way across there, there's actually 2 squares, one over the other, to give a nice overlap so that I can put buttons on to close it up. So I think that works really nicely. And in fact, I thought I was going to use this as the front of the cushion, but then with those buttons on, how cute are those buttons? So they're little mother of pearl ones I had in my stash. I'm not quite sure what size they are. Shall we measure them so that I can tell you? They are about 1 centimetre wide there, and they fit through the little corner holes in the crochet nicely, so that I didn't have to sort of make any buttonholes as such. And I absolutely love them. Love them. Love, love, love buttons. So that's going to go in the shelf in my living room, just to remind me of all those little bits of yarn that I had, and I've now made into a finished project. Aren't those squares the most gorgeous thing? I actually kept the cushion cover that was on this cushion underneath because it was like a beige colour, because you can see the sort of where the holes are. I think that gives a nice pattern. Love it, absolutely brilliant. That's Sandra Paul, who's the Cherry Heart podcast, and she's got some beautiful, beautiful patterns. Because I finished that, I know that Sandra had posted about a new crochet along that she'd got coming up. So it's called the Nature's Walk crochet along, and she's got a blanket pattern coming out for that. I think it comes out on the 24th of September, so we've got a little bit to wait, but it's not long. And then Sandra had put on her website links to these kits you could buy, and then I had a little look and I might have bought one. So the colourway that I bought, because there was 3 choices that you could have. I'm pointing like as if I'm pointing at the website here, and it's not in front of me. I picked the Wild Hedgerow colourway, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I will steal Sandra's photograph and put a picture of it here. They're beautiful squares. They look like they're about this big, I'd say. So they're a bit bigger than the Battenberg blanket squares. But, oh, the colours together, absolutely gorgeous. And plus, I had to buy the kit because you've got six extra patterns for the 6 extra squares on there. So, absolutely brilliant. Can't wait to have a go at that. I will leave links to Sandra's website in the show notes as well, along with all the other things that I mentioned. So I'm very excited about that. Bit of a naughty yarn purchase, but it won't be in this week's confessions because it hasn't arrived yet, so it doesn't count. Oh dear. Right, so let's get on to the sewing section. So I have a finished object. Barbara, would you pop over and show me what you got on? Welcome back, Barbara. So, Barbara is wearing a new t-shirt that I made of some jersey fabric. So the pattern is called the Frankie t-shirt by Tilly and the Buttons. And I picked up this gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. And this is a Art Gallery Fabrics jersey. And I have a few other t-shirts made in an Art Gallery Fabrics jersey. And it is a really lovely, lovely quality material. And it is washed so well in when I've had in other cases anyway. And I just, even though it is expensive per metre, I can get a t-shirt out of 1 metre. And I think it comes to about £24 a metre, something like that. But the amount of time it lasts, I'd rather make something out of something that's really going to last. Really nice quality. So it's beautiful, beautiful print on this. I think are they like dandelion clocks, blowing away in the breeze with a lovely blue background. I'll just show you the back and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I've changed to the pattern. I have actually got a Frankie t-shirt on now, so this is a plain grey one, and I really like the Frankie t-shirt because it's nice and baggy over my tummy. So I really wanted to make another one of these, and I think that this pattern, it's got like a casual look to it, and so is the material, so I thought that they would pair together really well. I have changed the neckline on this t-shirt, so the Frankie t-shirt comes up quite high, and I did make one that was really high. I think it was out of fishy material, the first one I made, with navy sleeves. But I found that the neckline seemed a little bit tight. I don't like the feel of it. So what I did was I measured my Agnes pattern, which is also by Tilly and the Buttons, next to it. And I cut the neckline so it's the same as the Agnes pattern, because I knew that I really liked that neckline. And I did it with this t-shirt as well. So that it would be like a combination of the aspects about the Agnes top that I like, which is the neckline, and then the fit of the Frankie t-shirt, which is nice and baggy. And this is what I've ended up with. I have actually cut, so I ended up printed out the pattern because I buy the PDF version, and I'd cut out the size that I wanted, and then I've actually modified the pattern pieces so that they come with the Agonist neckline now each time, because I wouldn't have used the higher neckline anyway because I didn't find it very comfortable. And because it's a PDF pattern, I've stored it on my computer, and if I need a different size I can just print it out again. And as it's a t-shirt, you don't have to print out too many pages. I mean, if it was a massive dress then it would be a bit of a hassle sticking all the pieces of paper together, but it's not too bad with a t-shirt. So here we are. I cannot wait to wear this. I was dying to wear it yesterday, but I kept it so that it wouldn't be all sweaty for you. Oh dear. And I do have another piece of art gallery fabric that I was thinking of making another Frankie t-shirt out of, but I was thinking, hang on, is there another pattern that I could use? Because I'll end up with a wardrobe full of exactly the same t-shirt. But you know, if you find a pattern that you really like though, just keep copying it, that's what I say. So thank you very much, Barbara. So I've also been doing some other sewing, dressmaking related things. So I picked up a vest top from a local shop, and I found that to get the size that sort of fits comfortably around my tummy, I have to do make some adjustments. So on this t-shirt I've actually added a dart to the side, which is in a really weird place because I needed to reduce the armhole really, because it was a bit gapey, and also it gaped towards the bust. So I've now added some darts there and it fits me really nicely. So I just basically put the t-shirt on, gathered up the sides, put some pins in where I wanted to change it, and then I just did machined a dart, and then I just tacked across the top to hold that dart in place, just like that. I could have overlooked it and so trimmed the edge really closely at the back, but I just thought, oh, that'll be fine. And that's just a nice little vest top now that I can wear basically around the house or underneath a cardi or something, because I don't really like showing my arms, but sometimes when it's really warm you need a sleeveless t-shirt. I actually did buy another t-shirt the other day, and this is a bought t-shirt. I'm going to talk to you about what I did to it. So this is just a very basic cotton woven fabric t-shirt that I picked up from a shop in Sheringham. And I just thought, because it's a nice woven shape, I will just take a pattern from it. It's very, very simple, because it's only really one panel for the front, one panel for the back. And I folded the t-shirt over and I traced around it. So you can see that actually on the real t-shirt there was a extra piece of fabric sewn on as a sort of cuff, but I've just taken a plain pattern. So I drew around it here, and then I've added the seam allowance on all the seams that need a seam. Obviously here I'm going to put it on the fold, so I didn't need to add a seam allowance. And I have actually added both the back neckline and the front neckline on the same piece of paper. And what I shall do is I'll carefully make some cuts in it and fold this bit out of the way for when I want to actually cut out the front and the back panels. But I may actually add some darts in it, because I do think it sometimes gives a nicer shape when you add some bust darts in there. What I might do is actually, I've got some pattern pieces from my Cashmerette Springfield top, which I showed you a finished one last week. I might actually sort of put the pattern pieces on top of each other and work out what changes I'm going to make to those. But sometimes I just wanted the shape of how the arms were really. But that's what I was up to. I wasn't able to actually make anything from this pattern that I've drafted, but at least now I've taken a pattern before I've actually worn the t-shirt, so that if there's any stretching between me wearing it and then taking the pattern, it wouldn't affect anything, if you know what I mean. I think that's all my dressmaking. And now it's on to confessions, which links in to the thing that I've just been talking about. So as I'd made the pattern from that t-shirt, we went for a little drive up to Holt, and I saw in this beautiful fabric from a little fabric shop there. I think the fabric shop, I made a note, it's called Something Special in Holt, and she'd got some really nice cotton lawn. There was this print, which I thought was rather lovely for summer. Might be a bit late for this summer, but for next year. and some black with some gorgeous little sort of leafy print on there. So I got a metre of both of these in the hopes that I'd be able to make the pattern I just drafted from those. So a nice sort of drapey cotton material, which will be nice and cool. So that was a bit naughty really, because I don't really need any more fabric, but you know, sometimes inspiration comes. Oh dear. I also picked up some fat quarters because I showed you my little storage pod last week, which is over here. I'll grab it. There may be some threads in there though, because I've been throwing bits of thread in there because it is a thread catcher. This is the colours that I sewed this one in, and then I've bought some fat quarters that tone in with it. Oh no, all my thread scraps have gone all over the desk. It's not very clever, is it? So I thought that would tone in really nicely, and also I've got that sort of colour theme going on in the background here, and it goes with the sewing machine that I've got behind me. I've got a Jones sewing machine there. I also have another purchase, and it is the chair that I'm sitting on. You can only just about see it. But it's a pink chair from IKEA, and I've been putting off getting a decent chair for ages, and I saw this on, I think it was the Sew Over It Lisa Comfort's channel, and I just had to go and order one. So I had one delivered to my local IKEA, which is a tiny little IKEA, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's so much more comfortable than my last chair. So there we go, that's my confession section. And I have a blast from the past now. I should perhaps have blocked this again before I showed it to you. So as I was talking about the 10th Stephen West mystery knit along, I thought I'd show you what other shawls I've knitted on the mystery knit-alongs that Stephen West did. So I did the building blocks shawl, which was, I can't remember how many years ago. It was a few years ago when I did this anyway. And I had no idea of how this would come out. And I absolutely love this shawl. In the winter I wear this absolutely no end. It's beautifully long and large, so that it keeps me really nice and cosy, and it's knitted out of some beautiful yarn from Hedgerow Yarns, and two of the yarns, I'm actually holding it the wrong way up, I've just realised. Two of the yarns I've got silk in, and two of them are merino, I think. One of them's got neps in, which gives a nice texture, and I love this shawl, so I normally wear it. Oh dear, getting in a tangle. I normally wear it so that the big V is at the front, something like this, and it is so super cozy. So that's my blast from the past, which is sort of in connection to today's episode. I think I can probably wear this today. It's not as warm as it has been, so I might leave that on. So that's my blast from the past. So that's the Stephen West building block shawl in Hedgerow Yarns yarn that I picked up from her Etsy shop. I'll leave links to those in my show notes as well. And I have a gadget for this week. What I'm trying to do is every beginning of the month I try to do my blast from the past and gadget, because I was running out of them, having them in every episode because I'm podcasting every week now. But my gadget for this week is my Clover seam roller. Now if you do quilting at all, I find that finger pressing things is really useful, because sometimes ironing them, pressing them, you can stretch things a little bit, so I quite often use my fingers to press the seams, but this roller makes it even easier. Absolutely love this. So it's by Clover. They are quite expensive really. I think I paid about £11 for this, but I will leave links to where I got it from in the show notes as well. But if you are a quilter or patchworker, very useful little item there. There we are. I have been looking at my lawn abatement book, and I have picked a project because I spent ages flicking through it, deciding what I was going to make. And Lorna Bateman's book I showed you a few weeks ago is this one, and I wanted to show you that I haven't actually started anything in it, but I have been looking because there's so many lovely things in there to choose from. I couldn't decide what to start with, and I think I'm going to start with the tape measure cover next time. So with any luck I'll have some time to start it for the next episode. Let's see if I can find the actual project page so that I can show you what it looks like. So that's the project I'm going to start with, a tape measure cover. I've never made a tape measure cover, so I think that'll be a brilliant start. That would be lovely if I covered it with some beautiful stitching. Well, I say beautiful stitching. We'll see how it comes out. So that's my blast from the past and gadget. And I've just got some information on my shop update and then some prizes that I'm going to draw. So shop update is this Friday at 7 o'clock, and I have some bags that I have had in the shop for a little while, so I'm going to have a sale on them. So these smaller sock size bags, they're all boxed bottomed, and I have a wine bottle one. I have some autumn leaves in gold, and that's got a red lining. And then I've got two Christmassy style bags, one with gifts on and one with mittens on. I'm going to have 30% off these bags in the shop update this Friday at 7 o'clock, so watch out for that. There's obviously only a few of them left, but I'm starting to move away from having the slightly smaller sock size bag and going for a slightly bigger size, so I wanted to put those on sale. Also, I have still got a few of the yarn advent calendars in my shop, so they are called Frostbites this year because they're little bites of yarn to keep you cozy in the frosty months, and they're going to be either 12-day or 24-day yarn advent calendars. Either you can choose 10 grams or 20 grams, so you've got the combination. You can like have 10 grams for 12 days, 10 grams for 24 days, or 20 grams for 12 days or 20 grams for 24 days, if that makes sense. They will all be lighter and mid-tone colours, so that if you're wanting to do them in like a blanket or something like the Battenberg, they sort of tone together a little bit, so that they're not just sort of random colours that don't sort of go. Also, they will be shipped towards the end of September, and that will give you plenty of time to receive them before the sort of holiday months, Christmas months. And I also went for calling them Frostbites because it's more inclusive of people that perhaps don't celebrate Christmas, but they want Advents as well. So I'm trying to be more inclusive for everybody. I think that's all the information on the advent calendars. Hopefully I haven't forgotten to tell you anything. So they're the Frostbites, and they will be in the shop until Monday the 9th of September, this coming Monday. So if you want one, make sure that you purchase it before that date, because I will be taking down any remaining kits from the website so that I can start getting to work on those, and then I'll be posting those off towards the end of September. I've just repeated myself. That's the shop update, and now we're going to be talking about the prizes. So on last week's episode, I was celebrating my 3-year podiversary as well as more than 8,000 subscribers. So I decided to do a little bit of a giveaway for that, and I asked people to put a comment down below on the last episode, and I wanted you to tell me what's your favourite craft, and we had loads of lovely answers. And the prize for that was, I'm going to do a drawstring free motion applique decorated bag, and this is a boxed bottom lined with this batik fabric inside, and then it's going to come with matching notions pouch, DPN case, scissor case and circular needle case. So the winner is going to win all that, as well as a one-of-a-kind skein and mini that I've popped in there, and also some little minis from Attic Spin Die. So I shall show you one of those. They've got some beautiful colourways. That's Attic Spin Die on Etsy. There's a nice blue one in here as well. So there's a couple of sweet treats and some teas in the lovely bags that were gifted to the podcast from Attic Spin Die. So all that is going to go to the winner of the Podiversary prize, and the winner is Miss Poodle Love. So if you're watching, can you send me a message either on email or through Instagram or somewhere to give me your address so that I can get that posted to you. So that's Miss Poodle Love. And your comment was, oh, well done, Ellie, for bringing us lots of crafty goodness. My all-time favourite craft is most definitely knitting, which I've done on and off for 50 years. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who took the time to like, subscribe and comment on the channel. And I'll be hoping to do more giveaways soon. I'm thinking the next one will be 10,000 subscribers. So that's if I ever hit 10,000 subscribers. It seems crazy to think 8,000 people follow. It's wonderful. Thank you so much. So we have the prizes for the summer sock along. So I've got 4 physical prizes that I'm going to be sending out for the finished objects thread. So first of all, I have a beautiful Harry Potter bag from the Llamas and Knitting Shop from Etsy, and it's got a lovely little pull cord on there as well, and it's lined with some beautiful floral fabric, and inside you will get some sweeties and a beautiful little donut stitch marker. That's really cute. That's from Llamas and Knitting. And there's a little minis pack from Knit Spin Dye as well, which is the same as the other one I showed you just on the previous prize. So this prize will be going to Sweet Bassett, who's Terry from Connecticut. So well done, Terry. So the next prize is this lovely, gorgeous pink yarn from Beaches and Birds Song, and it is called Sea Anemone. Oh dear, I've been talking for way too long. A cute little pizza progress keeper from Llamas and Knitting, and another little set of minis from Knit Spin Dye. So that prize will be going to Bork P, who's Peggy from Wisconsin. So well done to Peggy. The third prize is some minis from, oh here we go, some minis from Beaches and Birds Song, and it's in the Summer 2019 minis set, and there's a number of colours that are all related to the beach, and it comes with a progress keeper as well. I'm also putting a beautiful apple stitch marker from Llamas and Knitting in there as well, and another prize mini pack from Knit Spin Dye. So that's the third prize. I say third prize, but they're all about the same really. That goes to Jane Fain, who's Carol from Michigan. So well done, Carol. Prize number 4 is this autumnal bag, which is a little bit larger than the sock size that I used to do, and it's got a tree progress keeper, and it is lined with a green fabric there, and that's made by myself. It's got a box bottom as well, so when it's open it'll take a few skeins of yarn. And I have a full skein of the Attic Spin Dye yarn, and this is in Gleam Through the Bower colourway. And it comes with some beautiful stitch markers, a little lavender sachet and some teas as well that lovely Attic Spin Dye sent us. So that prize package is going to be going to May 76, I think, and that's I don't know what your name is, but you're from Norway, so congratulations. So those are the prizes from the finished objects thread. So these last 4 winners I've picked from the discussion thread, and you've won a pattern prize. So Anne from Thistle Glen Designs has some beautiful patterns, especially socks, and she's offered us 4 pattern prizes, but she's allowed us to choose which one you like. So what I'll do is, if you email me if you're a winner, let me know which of the patterns you'd like, and then I'll pass your details on to Anne so she can gift you that pattern. Post number 395 is Sarah One Daisy, which is Sarah from the UK. Congratulations, Sarah. We have post 295, which was Angela, who is Angela 8626, is from the USA. Congratulations, Angela. We have post number 169, which is Natty Navneet, which is Navneet from India. Congratulations, Navneet. We have post number 41, which is Pink Magic, which is Tracy from Norway. So congratulations, Tracy. So again, congratulations to everybody who's won prizes. So don't forget, if you've won a prize, if you send me either an email or a message on Ravelry with your full postal address so that I can get those prizes sent to you, or if you've won a pattern prize, if you email the choice of pattern you'd like from the Thistle Glen Designs pattern page on Ravelry, and then I'll get Anne to gift those patterns over to you. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you on the next podcast. Bye!